if we were to do no capital projects. If we were to pull all capital projects out, what the rates increases would have to be. And as you can see as those go around,
Can I just ask one question?
Sure.
This is just O&M, basically, what you're talking about. It's operating,
Correct.
maintenance, existing debt. Thank
and
you.
existing debt. This would be if we pulled all future capital projects. Obviously, we need to keep the projects going that are currently funded already with our existing debt. But if we were to pull that, and again, I want to quantify or qualify this with, we're not recommending that we pull these projects out, but we want to answer the question since it was posed. With water, there would be a 4% increase from 11 through 15. Sewer, as we showed on the prior slides, is not currently covering its existing debt, so it would still need a 20% increase in 2011, and then 5 in 2012, 3 in 2013, and then 14 and 15, 3% as well. Stormwater would need an 8% increase in 11, 7.5 in 12, 7 in 13, and then 3 in 14, and 3.5 in 15. My expectation would be that 2016 would have a huge influx in the rates because all these projects that we've tried to backlog would come due. We are going to talk about some of those consequences a little further. It might be the next slide. Let me check.
One more quick question.
Go ahead.
The sewer rates, since it's currently not paying for itself, where are the funds coming from?
Coming from the other utility funds, not the general
So
fund.
the water fund.
The water
or
fund.
other funds that,
They're a combined fund, water and sewer.
okay.
So it's just utilizing funds that are currently in there.
They're commingled funds, but one of the guiding principles is to try to have each utility be able to sustain itself.
I see.
Even if they're in a combined fund, but as a cost center, they would take care of themselves.
So we'll kick this back to Dave for the consequences if we do pull those capital projects out.
Okay. And before I get into the bullets on this next slide under legal and financial considerations, I want to reiterate again, the staff perspective is it would not be prudent to back out these capital projects. However, this does give you a baseline for what it would take just to sort of keep the nose of the utilities above water, if you would, in terms of pressures on O&M and to pay existing debt. There are some legal and financial considerations that I think are important for you to have as you're deliberating this around why the future debt and the future capital projects are necessary and what the implications are for, in some cases, further delaying beyond their original timing or delaying anew projects. Kind of as an underpin here is that, as you know, under the GMA, the Growth Management Act, we are required to do comprehensive planning. So first we say where it is we're going to grow in terms of land uses, where those are, what the densities will be, what the uses will be, and then we have to serve them concurrently. So we have to develop capital facilities plans in all of our systems, transportation, water, sewer, surface water, and anything else, to talk about how it is that we're going to serve that growth. We don't decide how much growth we have to plan for. It's a county level decision, as you know. The population number is given to us by the state, a range of populations. The county decides a number, and then they dole out urban area, city by city. And that just recently happened, I think, in the last couple of years. There was some litigation, as I'm sure you're familiar, as you recall, regarding some of the areas that we had identified. That forms the basis. Those facilities plans that we develop specifically for water and then wastewater and surface water are then further regulated and reviewed by other agencies, specifically the Department of Health and the Department of Ecology. For water, it's the Department of Health. And then for our wastewater and our surface water, it's the Department of Ecology. All of which is probably under various auspices at the federal level of the EPA, down to the state and to us. The next permit or regulatory context in which we operate under the DOE, as well as our NPDES, National Pollution Discharge Elimination System permit, which is for wastewater and stormwater. We're a permit holder. Some of our private businesses are permit holders, as you know. And we are heavily regulated in that realm, as in all of the other realms. Very heavily regulated. As you can imagine, it's important. It's our potable drinking water, and then we are wasting to the river our wastewater. Some of the implications at stake for us as a community as we look at our capital facilities plans. We have designed those plans in furtherance of the GMA requirement, and these agencies have reviewed those plans, and they looked at them collectively. If we are to slow down those plans in some way and try to defer items out of the plan, we would need to go back and kind of re-up that review with those agencies and have those plans readopted. These are systems, as has been mentioned, so it's really not an exercise of kind of one by one looking at projects and looking at cost and saying, well, let's do this one, let's not do that one, or let's move this one 2 years. They're all integrated. They all impact the other. Now, there may be some minor exception to that where there's sort of a standalone little thing, particularly in storm, but I think in the water and sewer, they're very interrelated. So what we would also need to do is to go back to the experts that advise us on our plans, kind of re-up with them and say, okay, we need to take this much money out of our plans and move it into the future. How do we do that and still have system integrity? So there'd be costs associated with going back to do that and then going back through the regulatory process. There are some issues that are at stake for us even without growth. Just as we sit on the ground right now, we are in non-compliance in both our water utility and our wastewater utility. With respect to our water utility, we have, Jim can cover this best, but I'll give it a shot. Up on the hill toward the east side, we've got low pressure, inadequate pressure, and then with some other factors, depending on what happened, if we had a fire here or there, we could have inadequate fire supply to provide emergency services in our community. There's some backflow type issues that could come up and compromise health in the community. And so basically DOH has us on notice, if you would, that we have to do some things. The most significant is the Zone 4 reservoir and another line, but there's some other projects on the list that are related to that. And in fact, in this sheet here that kind of showed the take all the capital out, what would it be thing, our definition of take all the capital out didn't take out Zone 4 and the East Street water line because those are already programmed. Those are already, we already have funding. Those are already in. So all of this to say, we've kind of posed the question to DOH and to DOE because we have similar issues with our wastewater system down at our sewer plant. We lack the redundancy that's required, and we're on the good graces of DOE right now. They've allowed us to delay that, but we have some significant capital work that we have to do down there in order just to be in compliance for our current rate of discharge. We've sort of posed this question to them. It's kind of a difficult question to ask, and I think for them to answer, and that is, hey, when are you going to start fining us?